Okay guys, I am so excited about today's makeup. This is my really good friend, Jessica. I work with her on a regular basis doing hair and makeup for her clients. She is a fantastic boudoir photographer. Her company is Fearless Boudoir Portraits. I'm so excited. She's the one in the glam chair today. So let's get into it. I am prepping her skin with the Bobbi Brown Vitamin E Enriched base. I'm just using the warmth of my fingers and just really spreading it around and pressing it into her skin. Next, I'm moving on to her lips. I am using the Bite Lip Mask. This is just a clear one. And moving on to brows, I wanted to test out the Got2B Gel. I've had it for a while for brows, but to be honest, I don't really reach for it a lot. So today I wanted to take the opportunity to play around with it again and see if I like how it holds in place. Okay, here I am using the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the color Ash Brown. This is my most used color, even on naturally blonde, natural blonde hair. This is still my favorite color just because some of the blonde colored pencils tend to turn a little funky, like a little orangey, yellowy. So I just find that this Ash Brown is the closest to universal you can get. So between this one and like a blackest black, I don't know the name of the NYX pencil, but one of their darker ones, between the two I can cover quite a bit of colors that I need for the brows. You'll notice that I actually don't go in super thick with her brows. I'm just filling them in a tiny bit. I did that because I'm gonna go in with a very smoky eye and I didn't want to make the brows too heavy. I didn't want them competing with the smoky eye that I'm going to be doing. Next, I'm using the Danessa Myricks Colorfix in the colored Nude 3. I use this a lot as an eye base, a little primer. and just to cancel out any color that she may have on her lids. So you'll see me apply it here, and then I will just take a little blending brush, and you'll see me sort of buff it out and just make everything nice and smooth. If you see us giggling and looking, she went live on a couple different places. She had her iPad, she was going live on TikTok, she went live on Facebook for a little bit. So if you see her looking around and us kind of talking to other people in the room, that's who we're talking to. Here I'm just using the Huda Beauty, that's a tongue twister. I'm using the Huda Beauty loose powder in the color Cupcake to set her lids. Next, I'm moving on to just a brown shade, a pretty warm brown that's, it's not matte, but it's not glittery. So it's more of a satin finish. And what you're gonna see me do is really just pack it onto the lid was the main goal, but I do buff it out quite a bit. I wasn't looking for perfection because I know I can clean it up a little bit later in the makeup application. So you're just gonna see me kind of go back and forth, packing it on her lid and smoking it out. as I'm watching myself build the color up on her lids, you know, this brown color in the pan actually looks a lot warmer in the pan than it does on her lid. But honestly, just pick any brown shade that you love and it will work in a similar way to achieve this look. The next shade that I grab is actually a Morphe Jaclyn Hill color from one of their collabs. I don't know the actual name of it, but it's a very red-orange color. It looks extremely pigmented in the pan, but as you can see, as I, oh, she's showing off her pictures. As I use it in the crease or focus it in the crease in the outer corner, it just warms this look up a little bit. So just pick any reddish orange eyeshadow that you have and slap that into the crease and the outer V, just to smoke out the edges of that darker brown color. If you look at the tip of my brush, you can see how orangey it looks. It looks so bright in the pan that it can be a little scary until you just play with it and get it on the skin, and it actually looks really nice. Now I'm just smoking out the bottom lash line with those same two shades. The super reddish orange, wow, you can see how much brighter it is under her eyes in this particular clip. But I go in with that first, and then I'll go in with that same, that first shade, that darker brown. And I really just kind of take my time to go back and forth with the two colors. But, and again, I'm not trying to be a perfectionist. I just kind of get it on there as good as I can, knowing I can clean it up a little bit later. This shade really makes her eyes pop. She's got like bluish green eyes. Today I feel like they looked a little more blue, but they changed based off of what she was wearing. She was live on Facebook. See, I told you, she's such a, she's really good at social media, so. But anyways, yeah, just take your time and smoke this out as much as you would like. Okay, next I'm moving on to putting some brown liner. It's a NYX pencil. It's just a generic brown. I'm gonna put that in her lower and upper waterline. This is not a super dark brown, to be honest. It's like a mid-toned, warm brown color. Again, you can sort of look at the tip and the tip of the pencil and see that it's not like, some browns are almost black. That's not this. I really choose a brown, a true brown, to slap in her waterline. This is gonna give her, it's gonna continue to smoke out this eye look without being as harsh as a black pencil can be sometimes. Look at her face. She said it tickled. Okay, now I'm using my Tarte in Bloom palette, and I'm just taking one of the deepest shades. It's one of the top two. I think I used Smokeshow. Yeah, I am using the top one. I think that's Smokeshow. I'm gonna list everything that I use below. But I'm just doing a soft powder liner because I will be using lashes on her today. So I like having a powder liner underneath just to make sure there's no gaps or anything like that. Okay, so I left this clip in here so you could see how bad I needed to cut these lashes. I just wanted to point this out because it's, in my opinion, it's super important to measure the lash to your client's eye shape. Had I left that and not trimmed it, it sort of brings the shape of her eyes more downturned. And you'll see now that I've cut it, when she looks into the camera, how much more suited for her eye shape it is. So when you're working with a client, just make sure you measure the eyelash to their eye shape before actually gluing it down. So see if she looks in. See, it's much shorter and it gives a more lifted look than had I left it, had I left the length as is. Also, whenever I'm doing eyelashes on clients, I started having them, I tell them to keep their eyes open but look down. You'll be less likely to glue your client's eyes shut. I also tell them if they panic, it's okay if they shut it. Oh, we all love lashes. But yeah, I find having them just keep their eyes open and looking down is sometimes a more pleasurable experience. But if they're super sensitive, they may just close them anyways, and that's fine too. I think this is the moment she started feeling herself. She started looking into the camera more, but I am using the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Foundation in the color Toasted Coconut. You'll see maybe two tips in this clip. One is that I use a glove on my left hand instead of a palette. I love that I can just throw it away at the end of each session, especially when I'm doing weddings and I've got multiple clients. It's easier. It's just one less thing I have to clean up. But anyways, you'll also see that the little beauty blender, it's not the Beauty Blender brand. This is literally just, I think I got these from Amazon. I cut them in half. I do not wash my blenders. I leave them with my clients. It's just, again, one less thing I have to wash, but to help with, not being wasteful, I cut them in half. And they also, it makes your money go a little bit farther when you're buying little beauty blenders. So anyways, I'm taking that foundation and I'm really just taking my time pressing it into her skin, making sure to come up on the ears and down the neck. I really do spend a good bit of time making sure it's pressed into the skin as much as possible. Okay, I'm almost done with foundation. I did want to note that I do spray my blenders with a little bit of, I was using the Morphe spray just to dampen my sponge a little bit. Okay, now moving on to concealer. This is the NYX Bare Serum in the color Light. Oh, my camera died, so I had to get it back going. But all I've done is used my fingers to put on that NYX Bare Serum in Light. First I put them under her eyes. This is where you can start the process of cleaning up that lower lash line if you went a little crazy. And after the eyes, I take that color down the bridge of the nose, on the forehead, a little bit above the lip, and sometimes the chin, just to sort of bring those facial features forward, and also so that you don't have an alien color on the face. Like if I left it just on the eyes, with it being that light of a color, it would sort of just look sort of stuck on her face. So by incorporating any color you put on the face in more than one spot when you're doing makeup application, it's just going to make everything look a little bit more cohesive. I'm going back in with that Huda Beauty loose powder in Cupcake to set her under eyes. She kept thinking I was gonna bake because she sees me bake sometimes, but I just didn't really feel the need to today, since I kind of got the majority of her eyes done, and this powder does a really good job at brightening. I just didn't need to, so if I didn't need to, I don't. But yeah, you just see me taking that under her eyes to set, and then I'll always, I usually use it in the sort of the T-zone area and anywhere that I want to use that really finely milled powder. Okay, so now I'm going in with the NYX, what is the name of this powder? It's their Can't Stop matte powder, I believe. Again, I'll list everything below. This is in the shade Light. I'm just setting the other areas of her face, and I mean, sometimes I kind of go over the places I already put the loose powder as well, but the reason I didn't take that loose powder all over the face is because it is brightening, and I didn't want it to alter the colors that I have in this application other than brightening where I put it. So yeah, I'm just taking this light powder all over just to make sure everything is nice and set before we go in with bronzer. Moving on to bronzer. Sometimes I'll do cream and stuff like that. Today I just went in with the powder. This is the, oh my gosh, how do you say this company? I'm just gonna list it down below because I don't want to butcher it. But I've really enjoyed this. This is in their bronzer in the Light palette, and I'm just kind of mixing the two, warming up her complexion. Moving on to blush, you can see I'm literally taking 2 and 3 colors at a time. That bottom right square is a Huda. What color is that? It's just a lighter pink, and then the top 2 pinks are a little bit warmer, but I'm just mixing, honestly. Sometimes I just have fun mixing colors. I feel like it's a little bit more dimensional that way. But I'm just adding her blush placement. I usually do above the nose after the iris, so just really in that little diagonal section right there. She's currently nursing, so we had to adjust a few times. Oh, anyways, the round blushes are actually from Essence. I've been using them out as a drugstore dupe for some higher end blushes, and I have to say I enjoy them. Like I don't mind them at all. They've been really fun to play around with. I ended up topping that blush with the super famous Milani. The Milani blush in Luminoso. It's one of the most popular blush colors for makeup artists because it's just, I don't know, it's just the perfect color. It's not too pink. It's not really a pink, it's more of a peachy tone, but it's just a good color. And then I decided to play with using the iconic, I think it's the iconic one, the liquid highlighter. And it's actually much more, it shows up a lot more in person than it did on camera. You will see here a little bit later when she turns her face, you'll see it. But I just kind of wanted to play with using that liquid highlighter on top just to see how it acted. And honestly, it acted perfectly fine. I did end up going back on top with a powder highlighter to make it stand out a little bit more. But I really like this product, and I want to play with mixing it with foundations and sort of play with the formula a little bit, using it in a bunch of different ways, even on the eyes and stuff like that. But here you just see me using my beauty blender to press it into her skin. This next palette is a Sigma palette. I think it's called Sculpt, and on the bottom it's got your bronzer and your contour colors, and on the top it's got 3 highlighter colors. I honestly, like always, I mix all 3. You can see me sort of grabbing all 3 of them. It kind of reminds me of the Becca Cosmetics, one of their highlighter palettes. The colors are very similar, but yeah, I'm just taking those highlighter colors on her cheekbones, the bridge of her nose, a little bit on her lip, and a little bit on her forehead. I'm also taking that those highlighters in her inner corner, and then here in a second you're gonna see me taking that highlighter on her brow bone. This is where you can use highlighter to really clean up that harsh line and make sure it's nice and blended. So that was my first step of cleaning up that harsh line. Okay, moving on to lips. So this is the NYX lip pencil in Free Spirit. I chose this because, as I'm sure you've seen the inspo picture, I'll either put it on the thumbnail or we had an inspiration picture, and the model in it did have a very bright, peachy, kind of pink lip. So because we were aiming for that, I do end up using that. But I do end up darkening it before the end of the video. But you'll see here, this is actually a really pretty color if you want a soft, peachy tone. I think if I would have left her lip with just this and the gloss, it would have been good, but I ended up topping it with something else, and I feel like it sort of was a little bright for my liking. But yeah, I highly recommend Free Spirit lip liner from NYX. Okay, so even though this lip ended up being a little bit bright for my liking, it was very close to the picture like I said before, but this is a Maybelline color in, it's a matte color, Honey Pink is the name of it, but I wanted to leave this clip in because this is reality, right? Sometimes you try things on a client's lip and it's not exactly how you imagined, and that's okay. So the way that you'll see me fix it later on is, like I mentioned before, is I go in with a darker lip liner. I actually ended up using a brown shade. I think it might have been the same brown pencil that I used in her waterline, and I ended up using it as a lip liner for some fun. But I wanted to leave this in here so you can, you know, this is reality. It's not that I don't like it, I just didn't love it as much as I could have, but it's still a fun color for the right eye look. I think here I'm going in, oh, I'm still putting in that, I'm still putting more of that color on, and then I actually go in with the clear Bite lip mask to make it a little more glossy here in a second. Okay, here I'm taking the Hourglass palette. I cannot remember the name of these palettes, but they're really good at blurring and adding light back to the face, but I am just taking that color all the way to the left, and I'm using it to further blend that harsh line. I also use it to blend out the lower lash line a little bit, and she's still doing her social media. Next I've got mascara. This is just your standard blackest black waterproof, but a super fun trick that I learned. You'll notice I don't have a normal mascara wand. These are actually dental, I think they call them interdental floss. It's meant for like people who have braces. They can floss their teeth, but they work great as mascara wands because they're so small. You can get in those nooks and crannies where eyes started to water. I just get them off of Amazon. They also come with a cap, which is really good for keeping them nice and hygienic since they're in their eyes. But yeah, I'm just taking that on her lower lash line as well as the top. So this is the first final look. This is before I ended up darkening her lipstick, but I wanted to show you both. She has the best hair, y'all. Her hair is so thick, I can't even explain. Oh, she's playing with She's modeling it like a true champ. And then I'll show you guys the darker lip. The only thing I think I would have done a little bit differently is I would have gone back in and darkened her eyebrows a little bit more, but we were starting to run out of time, so we just went with it. Yeah, we're getting those social media pictures, and then we'll move on to that darker lip. And here we go, watch this. I love watching this transform. But you guys let me know down below. Do you like the lighter lip, the original lip color? Or do you like this one? I just feel like this one made the look a little bit more cohesive. But you tell me, you know? I think both work. I will insert some more pictures. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and watching. Let me know anything you want to see in the comments, and we'll see what we can do. See you next time.